Hey everybody, I hope you're doing good, and I want to give you a quick update. If you stick around long enough, I'm going to show you what me and my sons and nephew and friends have been working on the last several 15, 16 years. But we're getting somewhere. It's pretty cool. I do have some church-related stuff that I'll tag on here at the very end. But I had a question this morning. I had somebody ask me, why is it that some people believe and some people don't? Why people look at Jesus and look at all the miracles that he did and say, well, he needs to give me more proof. And I think what this comes down to is it's kind of like getting at the layers of an onion, and what people when they approach Jesus, everybody's coming to it from a point of view and how they view him, and how we all do it. We all have what we call a worldview, and people perceive what's going on through a certain lens and the thinking that they bring to it, to whatever the situation might be. We call that a worldview, and it turns into a political viewpoint. So in Jesus' day, you had really four identifiable groups that were kind of prominent. The big one, of course, is always the Pharisees. The Pharisees were the traditionalists, and they kind of came from a blue-collar background. They started off well. They kind of came from more the lineage of the scribes and those who were teaching the people in Ezra and Nehemiah's day, when the people of Israel returned back and began to rebuild the temple, rebuild the wall, and a great revival broke out. And they were the guys who just said, "Okay, we got to disciple you." You remember that great verse in Nehemiah where it says that the joy of the Lord is your strength. That they were just so broken over where they were and what had happened to them, and they just started well. But then they took a turn over the centuries, and it began to be about them, about their power, and they believed the Messiah would really come through them. They have to check with them first, but they were also the ones who were really saying we got to figure out a way to get back to what we were as a great nation, and really get away from Roman occupation. So that's the Pharisees, traditionalists. Then you had a second group that were Sadducees, who were sad, you see, of course. The Sadducees were collaborationists, meaning they collaborated with whatever the popular group was at the time, or who had the most power, because that was a way for them to get power for themselves. So they were more upper class. They got along great with the Greek and the Roman society. Others kind of saw them as sellouts, which was not good. And they also wanted to be free from Roman occupation, but they wanted to be in a place of advantage no matter what. They didn't believe in a physical resurrection like the Pharisees did, and they also didn't see a need for a Messiah. So Jesus had encounters with them as well, and they were, probably because they didn't see a resurrection, they tended to be more worldly. And liberal, if you want to use that word. So the Sadducees were collaborationists. And then you have your third group, which were the Essenes, who were isolationists. Those were they were going to have their own fortress or monk. Have you ever heard of the fortress at Masada and what happened there? That's that group. Many believe that John the Baptist actually came from the group called the Essenes. But they were not looking for a militaristic type Messiah. So you had that worldview, the Essenes, which were more isolationist. And then you had the Zealots. So, for example, Simon the Zealot, one of the disciples, they were revolutionists. And they were highly trained men in physical arms and in fighting, who were looking to get rid of Rome by force. And they were looking for a Messiah who was predicted, who would trample down the enemies of Israel, which, of course, that's in the scripture, but he had to suffer first. You have the cross before the crown. And so that was a group that really did a lot of damage. They were actually the ones responsible for inciting the destruction of Jerusalem in AD 70. They were kind of at the forefront of that. And so that's not, that you can see all those worldviews just kind of clashing. And you see all those viewpoints amongst the 12 disciples. But at the same time, it's no different than what we have today. I mean, you can quickly look and see all around us and the political environment we're in that that's what you see. And Jesus came preaching the kingdom. It's not that we don't talk about politics, because he is talking about a kingdom where he would rule and reign on earth. And as it's prophesied about in Isaiah, but also in Luke, that there'll be no end or cease to his government, that he will reign forever and ever. And then you had other groups as well, like the scribes, the priests, the Samaritans, the Galileans, the occupying Roman forces. You see Jesus interacting with them, the centurions, a lot, and just on and on. And they had a particular worldview. And then everybody has their own personal background and personal pain that they bring into the situation whenever they encounter Jesus. People go through the loss of a child, or perhaps the inability to bear children, lifelong abuse, even attacks from of demons, poverty, all these things on and on people deal with. And so people kind of bring their own preconceived notions to life's most important question. Who is God, and why don't I know him? That's the most important question. Who is God, and why don't I know him? Is he interested in me? And all this can really be answered at looking at what Jesus said for himself. And I point to Matthew 16, when Jesus took the disciples up to Caesarea Philippi, in a very just a pagan place there at the Mount Hermon at the bottom there, where they were worshiping Zeus and Pan and having all different gods that they worshiped. And there was child sacrifice and animal sacrifice and all kind of weird sexual stuff going on. And he went there on purpose and asked them the question with all these viewpoints, and right there in the middle of just pagan world, he asks, who do you say that I am? He asked that of Peter in particular, and you know what Peter said: you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And it can be looking at too what Jesus said about himself, that I'm the way, the truth, and life. No one comes to the Father but through me. And you just kind of, I'll go back to the whole analogy of an onion. When you peel back the layers of an onion to our worldview and our life experiences and pains and losses and all those things we bring, and we think about all the miracles and teachings that Jesus had, and it just comes down to that one-on-one relationship that we have with Jesus when we look at him and we have to make a decision. Everybody's going to have to make a decision. Every human being, whether if they haven't already, but in the future, because every knee's going to bow, every tongue's going to confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. And they have to be able to say, I've looked at the evidence, I've looked at the man, I've looked at the God who is man, and I can say, like Peter did, that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And that's where also you're saying it publicly, but you're also saying, I'm following you. You're my king, you're my leader, you're my ruler, you're the only one who can save me, the one who loves me. You're the only one who can spare me from the wrath that's coming. And so I would just ask you, first and foremost, do you know him? Have you made a personal relationship with him based on the evidence? And of course, what did Jesus say to Peter? Blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, son of Jonah, for flesh and blood did not reveal this to you, but my Father who's in heaven. And I think that's, what has God been saying? What has God been saying to you about who his son is and who Jesus is? And that's going to be the question every single human being has to answer. And understanding we all have layers to the onion that we bring, the thinking that we bring to life's biggest questions, and in particular who our Creator is, and also the one who's saved us from an eternity without him. So it comes down to God revealing himself personally. Has God been revealing himself to you? Has he been speaking to your heart? And yeah, look at the information, look at the academic study of who is Jesus. Look at the Gospels. If you need more help with that, just hit me up or hit us up on any of our pages here, ClaytonBaptistChurch.com, whatever, and we will be more than happy to get you some or sit down with you and talk about it. And who do you say that Jesus is? Big time. All right. So just church stuff. First off, holidays are here. Thanksgiving dinner was great this past week. We had 9 o'clock service people, 11 o'clock service people there. We had recent visitors. We had first-time guests. We had lots of kids. We had dogs and cats hanging out together in perfect harmony. It was a great time. So that was the kickoff. We've got this Wednesday coming at 6 o'clock in the MAC. We have the Operation Christmas Child packing party. We'll be packing boxes that are going to be sent to kids all over the world so that they can hear about Jesus. There'll be things that they need in there, but toys and stuff. But there'll be an opportunity for them to hear about Jesus, and we'll have some Christmas fun stuff going on too. There will be a special announcement this coming Sunday from the youth pastor search team. That's all I'm gonna say. You need to be there. And then on December 3rd, so the Wednesday after Thanksgiving, we're having a Surviving the Holidays. It's a one-night event put on by Grief Share. It'll be at 6 o'clock. It's in the choir room. We'll have some Christmas stuff going on there, but it's just like a one-night deal on how to deal with grief, going through loss, especially through the holidays. People have a hard time. Sometimes family, and anybody can come. You don't have to have gone through a particular loss, but every Christian really has to learn how to deal with grief. I wish I would have done Grief Share 30 years ago. It would have helped me so much and saved me through a lot of heartache, not just with losing somebody, but with just the regular pains and losses in life. So please check that out. And last but certainly not least, today is Clayton Croom's 97th birthday. You hear that clap for Clayton Croom. We love you, Clayton, if you're seeing this, and we think the world of you. We're grateful for you, and all the loves and hugs we can muster. But look forward to seeing you soon. All right, I told you might get to see one project that me and my sons have been working on for a long time. This is my 1967 Cougar, and we've just been working on it here and there for years and years. And this is a 351 Windsor, and it's in various stages of being done. My dad helped work on some of this, and a guy led to the Lord many years ago named Ken Edwards did the paint and body work. My nephew Drew Thompson did some stuff on it, helped me rebuild the engine and all this kind of stuff. But anyway, there it is, right here. It's my friend John McNeil here at Jen Johns. Shout out to him. Come get your car worked on. All right, love y'all. Bye.